Hey, I haven't went live in forever, so I'm still figuring out my tech. Finally got things to talk together. We'll give a few minutes for people to come on. If anyone wants to come and talk to me tonight, because I'm going to do something super fun. At least I think it's super fun. I would ask if you can hear me, but it doesn't seem to be anybody about at this time of night. Of course, it is quite late here. I am going to do a batt in order to make a yarn like this. It is fabric and wool blended. Super fun to make. Don't need many tools to put it together. I got a lovely fatty pair of scissors, and I already have the wool prepared into a batt. So that part's done. You can easily just brush the wool locks out. It'd work the same way. But I did want some people here to help me choose what color lot I was going to do, because I have two very distinct color sets and I wasn't sure which one to do. So, and I also don't have a huge chunk of time. I only have about an hour to be on here. So hopefully someone shows up. Otherwise, I'm just going to play here by myself, and that's boring. I'll do it, but it's boring. I have this lovely pink, whites. There's some blacks. There's some burgundies. Color set. Or I have this greens, browns with some blues and some lovely threads in here. There's even some yarn in here. There's even some scraps of corduroy in here. There's all sorts of random stuff in here. Color set that we could prep up. So I was thinking the pinks would be more eye-catching. And no one else is here to argue with me, so pinks it is. Because we already have red. We already have turquoise. Let's add pink to the mix. Do not knock over the wine, because everybody needs some self-care. And mine is in the display of a lovely pink wine. Anywho, grocery outlet, bargain market, right? I think that's the best place to buy wine. I would like to buy your $24 bottle of wine for $6.99, please. Thank you. Anyhow, I have this lovely, luscious batt. And no, I don't remember what type of sheep it came off of. It is pretty fine. With the Suffolk, I don't remember. It feels lovely, though, so we'll do it. Is it pretty soft? It's pretty soft, but, you know, I'm turning red anyway, so it doesn't matter, because my skin will do that anyhow. Okay, so we got a batt. We have a bag of fluffy scraps, and we're going to turn them into a batt in which we can blend everything from. All right. We'll put this baby over here. Everything's mirror image. How funny. And then I am going to pull my box out. I have this lovely box sponsored by Harry and David. Not really. No, we got probably fruit or something out of it. Anyway, the top of the box is under the computer, so otherwise you'd be at a really weird height considering kitchen table. In my studio, but it's still a kitchen table. Okay. And I covered my computer with fabric. Not the first time that's happened. Not sure that helped. Okay. First, what we're going to do, make sure your box is clean, dry, and empty. You don't want it to have any remnants of the food or whatever that was in it before. Make sure it's sturdy. I'm just pushing the edges back in. You don't want anything to really catch, so if it has little edges, make sure they're all pushed back in. You want to take your batt and rip a strip off, right? And you're going to pull tufts out of it and lay it in the bottom of the box. Like you'd put a thin layer on your drum card. Right? Just thin layers in the box. I need to be cool enough to have a setup where everyone can see everything, but try not to make it a boob shot. There you go. Just fill your box up. You do want the fibers to all go the same direction. It really doesn't matter which direction. I like them going long ways. This would probably spin up really nice just by itself. So just make a nice layer of that. This is actually pretty nice fiber. Look at that. No lumps, no bumps. I don't even see any veggie matter, which is, you know, my fleeces. It probably has a little in it anyway, because most of the fiber I use comes from a very natural farmer source. Okay, to that, you want to add strips of fabric. Now we have this lovely bag, but some of the strips, oh my gosh, this one must be like 3 yards long. It's acting like it. But we don't want it 3 yards long in the back. This thing is huge, right? What we want to do, oh, there's a thread. I'm just going to lay the thread lengthwise. It's fine. Just leave it in there. You see the thread? You can. Okay, good. A little thread right there. Okay, so we're going to take this. We're going to take our handy dandy scissors, and we're just going to cut it in length somewhere between 3 and 6 inches and just lay them. I'll lay them more where you can see in the box. It doesn't really matter what fabric it is. This is a cotton from quilting. There's a quilt behind me if you can. Oop. Well, it's on that side too, but oh, opposites are fun. Right here, this is a Dalek. So I will need to get him finished. He has been on the back burner because spinning the quilt to quilting it made me angry. And then watching some lovely YouTube videos. I do love this lady who lives in England, right close to Hinswalda, Scotland. The Last Homely House does a lot of hand quilting, and I'm like, why didn't I just hand quilt it? It would have been easier and faster than machine quilting it, like, you know, domestic machine quilting it, going in circles. I do love machine quilting if you're going in straight lines or wibbly wobbly lines, which are my favorite. I do love my wibbly wobbly lines, or diagonals, whatever. But not what I was doing. Okay. So, okay, cut that into strips. Now these are about 1/8 of an inch. You do not want your strips bigger than 1/4 of an inch. If you see that they're fatter, just cut them down. All right, I got another white one. Again, cutting it into 3 to 4 inch lengths, well up to 6 inches. And you're just making a layer of them. And tomorrow I will spin this live and in person at the Willamette Heritage Center at Sheep to Shawl. Now, Sheep to Shawl is an annual event and generally has fiber animals, a few fiber vendors. The dye house is full of lots of demonstrators showing all sorts of fiber arts crafts, including the spinning group that I am in. And there should, cross our fingers, be a shearing demonstration. Now, I was called twice to see if I would do it. I think once was just a Hail Mary. Are you feeling better yet? No, I'm not. Nor do I have the equipment needed to do this. Demonstration shearing requires a machine with a drop. And I don't. I have this chunky little handheld thing. If you watched some of my more recent shearing videos, not while I was at shearing school, because I was using their equipment. Their equipment and my equipment are not even close to being equal. They have thousands of dollars worth of equipment. I have hundreds of dollars worth of equipment. Big difference. Mine's just clunky. It's really good for doing alpacas and llamas, and where there's a big long animal and they're normally laying down or stripping, like an alpacas you lay down, and llamas you put their head up to a fence and tie them off and put something around their mouth. So I have some threads. I laid them out too. I want some more color. I don't want it to just be white. Okay. Clearly I cut this with a rotary cutter and it missed a little bit. So we'll trim that off. And that is really long. And you could spin it long like that. It just wouldn't be that fun. Just the colors on this wouldn't be that great. So we are doing this. You can rip your strips too if you can rip them this thin. The rotary cutter did really come in handy. And I like cutting them at the time I'm building to just get the colors dispersed. And I have more of that color, so I don't have to worry about using all of this. Then if you come to a part that's too thick or thicker than you want, you can just trim it down. I suggest cutting it into your little bit before trimming it down. And the thinner it is, the better it spins. And I've done this just plain spinning, and I did it as like a core spun. I have some yarn behind me. It's just a cheap acrylic, but I got it free, so might as well use it, right? You go to a garage sale and they're like, just take it. Okay. Sometimes it's better seeing it go and the possibilities that it's going to be used than to just take it to Goodwill, which might not even take it. They're getting more and more picky. Or binning it, which is even worse because, landfills are no one's friends. There's some more of those in there. Save for later. What other colors do we want? Ooh, this looks like fun right here. I need to scooch it over a little bit so you can actually see the bag a little better. There, I think that helps. I just don't want the bag in there. That's a thread off of something. I don't know. If it's over an inch long, it'll spin. If it's under an inch and too thick, it won't spin. Now, I was hoping to have a little conversation in here, but evidently, since I don't announce anything and I just randomly pop on at a time that I don't normally pop on, I don't have an audience, but that's okay. I'm a night owl, and not everyone else is. And it's currently 9 o'clock. But children are in bed. Husband's watching TV. It's a great time to be on. And honestly, it's when I do a lot of my filming. Okay, here's more beautiful white. Okay. It's great when your yarn's or your thread's a little distressed. Thread. Wow. Fabric. A little distressed and the threads are coming out. That's what I mean to say. Words. They're important. But we don't want a ton of white in here. I do love the pops of color. And how we're pulling it out and how we're placing it are going to be a little different. So don't worry too much about where you put things. When you start grabbing them out to spin them, everything changes. I have that color. What did I want? Ooh, more black. This is fun. So if you quilt, what you cut off the edge of your fabric to straighten it before cutting your blocks is perfect. Or if you washed your fabric and you pulled these little guys out, they're perfect. These will grab on so well. If you break them off, it's better than cutting. But I'm not here to judge. Do what you want to do. But breaking off gives them more fibers in the end, and they grab better. Ooh, lovely little bit of stuff. Totally lost it. There it is. Haha, the green thing's the camera. The camera has a green light. Now, these as well, you don't want them really, really long because they'll catch funny and you won't be able to draft. That's the thing why you don't want them long, because you're mixing this with the wool and you want it to draft with the wool. Therefore, you want it somewhat a similar length. I hope that makes sense. But it can be a little thicker. Well, it's going to be thicker. I mean, that's the point. Just break things and be happy. It's great. If you want to be a little destructive, this is fun to do. But also if you don't have that many materials and you're trying to work with what you have, this is great. If you have a friend that quilts, they will gladly give you this stuff because this is the stuff they normally just bin up and throw out. I mean, doesn't matter what they sew. That's upholstery, a lightweight upholstery material. That can go in there. So it's all not just quilters' waste. But there's a lot of www. But like this stuff, I used to wash my fabric all the time. Still do a little bit. It really depends on what you do. If you order a bowl cozy from me, I wash the fabric because I don't want you to get it, wash it, and it really shrink up. I want it to do that normal shrink up where it just gets fluffier. Actually, it's a great thing about the bowl cozies. They actually get better the more you wash them. Anyway. This is just all knotted up. I'm pretty sure it was in the wash. But all these fun colors. And when you get a lot of color and stuff in here, it's time to do another row of wool. That'll be fine. This is an art yarn. It's going to be a little thick and thin. I mean, it'll naturally do that. I don't like spinning it and just having the wool, especially this stuff is pretty fine. I can spin sock weight wool or sock weight out of this wool, no problem. But with all this fabric and little mixed media pieces on it, it's an art yarn. It's great for weaving, making baskets, purses, rugs, outerwear. Scarves out of it would be super cool. You don't want big knots though, so no knots. Little pieces are fine. Ah, so much fun. If you had a drum carder that had like heavy, wide teeth, it would be fine. Mine is not. Mine is more on the narrowy side, but not totally. It's not fine by any means. It's not really good for super fine fabrics. Anyway, I really enjoy making these. I haven't made that many of them. And actually those two that I showed you, I did it on my traditional wheel. So I did it on my Kromsky Symphony. And these I am going to do on the wheel that I lovingly call Jeremiah because it's a Spinolution bullfrog. So Jeremiah will have no problem taking on this. It has a hook, not an orifice, so this is fine. Whole mess of hot pink. Should I just call this Barbie yarn right now since this is so Barbie pink? And you can cut this a little thinner than it is. Like I said, anything smaller than a 1/4 inch. I think this is like right there. I'm not going to measure it though because time. Let's see. It's a little green. And when you're spinning, just words to the wise, right? Pieces will fall off. You will get messy. Do this, then vacuum, right? Totally fine. Yes, I couldn't possibly clean. I'm crafting. Why not? Okay, I'm just dropping little pieces, so I'm just throwing them back in. They'll spin. If not, they'll fall out. But anyway, we have the box pretty well laid out. There's like fabric everywhere. So we're going to do another layer of the wool. And the wool just pretty much acts as glue when it comes to spinning the fabric. The fabric doesn't have a memory. It won't hold together on its own. So you either need to do wool or do a thread catching method. And I will be spinning and talking to people. So I don't want to do something that's going to require that much brain. Especially since I'm going to like talk them through what I did. So, which is partly why I'm doing this now. So I can go, if you want to see how I made the batt for this, please look at the video. So if I'm talking to anybody after sheep to shawl, this is how I made the beautiful art yarn. And it's quite okay just to pack it and get it to talk to each other. There's scales on wool, which is why spinning pretty much works. And if you push it together, the scales lock together. All right, covered, little veil. Perfect. Now we can go back on with these colors. This is a white on white print. Not sure you can actually see the white on white a little bit. Anyway, super long. Cut it up. Put it in the box. I'm going to dump it in the box and then rearrange them. I'm trying not to take all evening on this. Like I said, I'm only really on for an hour. 10:30, we need to get off. It's a little over an hour. Ooh, piece of gray. It's a little thick on one side. So I'm just going to scale her down. So this is a really, I guess, economical build if you have all the pieces. The skill, talent, whatever it lays in spinning it, which learn how to spin regular wool before trying to dump into this. You really need to know how to spin a little bit before jumping in. Right? Don't have to do a lot. Do a few yards. Or just make the batts because they make you happy, and then you just have a whole bunch of box batts for when you're ready. Hello. See that someone popped on? I am in the middle of making a boxed batt for doing art yarn, wool fabric blends. So it'll turn out something like this when it's done. This is a 2-ply. And that's how it looks as a 1-ply. Right now I'm just cutting things apart because we don't want anything longer than 6 inches in here. So around 3 is perfect. And there's some yarn scraps in here, so I was just taking them apart. So this is a great way to use up your sewing scraps, your yarn scraps. If you have little scraps of wool left from different spinning projects and don't have a batt, that would, that you're using, that would be great too. I happen to have this batt of wool on my shelf, and it was a light enough color to work for me. And I have a big bag of scraps here. This is collected from doing, I did a couple baby quilts. So these are all left over from baby quilts. And maybe some other randomness got thrown in. You can even see where they're pieced. And that'll spin. It'll spin up just fine. So as long as things are less than 1/4 inch, anything bigger than that has a tendency to not want to spin well. So 1/4 inch wide or thinner, and 3 to 6 inches in length. And I am just filling this box. Layer of wool, layer of fabric scraps, and lay them out so your colors are dispersed. You can do a little picking and choosing during the spinning process, but it's nice having them laid out, because tomorrow I won't probably take much choice. I'll probably just grab and spin because I'll be demonstrating. I will be at the Willamette Heritage Building at Sheep to Shawl tomorrow with a group of Salem spinners. So I'll spin, I'll walk around a little bit, contemplating taking my shearing gear because they called me twice for that, but I don't have the gear that they needed for demonstration. So not for a sheep, unless they want me to put it on a stand. I could do that. So I'm contemplating just throwing the stand in the truck. Oh, I see ya. Hi, Samantha. Oh, I'm glad it looks like fun. You do most types of fabric. Yeah, as long as it's not too thick. Like upholstery fabric might be too much, but as long as it has some good wiggle and bend to it, if you can take a small piece and you can twist it, and it holds the twist a little bit, you can spin with it because the wool will go over the top and lock it in place. I even have some corduroy somewhere, and I put little strips of corduroy in there and it worked great. The majority of this is quilting cotton. Ooh, that's a dark browny green. That'll give it some fun texture. Don't want to look at like, you know, like total Barbie in here. I want some depth and dimension. Yes. If you, yeah, rate the scraps. If you have friends that are quilters, they will give you their scraps of this size because they come from straightening up the edges of fabric before you cut your squares or your triangles or whatever. Or if you cut the edges off a quilt after you've bound it, you have tons of scraps. That looks very, very pink. We're going to have to start switching colors. And there's some threads from washing fabric, because when you wash fabric, all the threads come to the edge. And so this is all ripped up. Perfect for this. I just want to rip it up so there's no hard knots. So you can take your aggressions out and just rip the knots apart. I'm very relaxed after making one of these. Maybe a little bit sore, but you know, relaxed. And the threads actually catch up and spin really well. They don't really need the wool. This needs more color. This is getting way too pink. Black. I don't know if that's blue or black, but that's going in there. Come apart. If you're going in like that. Oh yes, little pieces of black. Gotta give it some depth and dimension. Yeah, I have a bowl underneath my sewing machine where I throw all my fine scraps and then sort them by color. There's some gray yarn in here. So that's going to go in too. My daughter's interrupting my stream. All right, have burgundy. A little burgundy in here. And I think this one's a little fat, so I'm going to just cut them down. And don't worry about putting them face up or face down. They're all going to get twisted about when you go to spin them anyway. There you go. Looking better? Oh, my scissors are talking. Close enough. Okay. I like the really thin ones. I can just pop in my hands. Oh, that's getting more fun. The more little threads that are sticking out, the more it grips and grabs. So it's easier to spin in. Little bits of, oh, a very small knitting project. Yes, that can be destroyed. We don't need that. It was just me seeing if I can knit with something so small. That's funny. Yeah, that's not working. Oh well. There we go. What else do we need? And there's little bits of yarn in here. We'll do a little bit more, and then we'll do another layer of wool. That was a knot. You just want them small enough so when you draft out the wool that they draft out with it. Maybe a little bit more pink. Break. And I'm going to cover it with another layer of wool. And this is just some wool I had in a batt on the shelf. I don't even remember what breed it is. And I didn't put a label on it. It's fairly short and fairly fine. I don't know, might be Suffolk. And just so it gets to the edge of the box. There, it's a good layer. It'd be nice having a little bit of dark coming through it. Ooh, batik. Yeah, I did 2 baby girl quilts, and that's what most of this is from. Pretty sure those girls are probably getting close to kindergarten by now. That's all knotted up. That one later. There's enough scraps in this bag to do a couple batts. And each batt should be, well, each batt should be about, just a little skein of yarn. Depending on the size of your box. Wow, they're really talking. Hello, you have someone new on. I'm creating a mixed media batt. It's like a faux batt to spin tomorrow at Sheep to Shawl. Because most of the other spinners spin like regular stuff and I have to be different. So pinks and purples and some black. This was pretty. Nope. Fabric did not want to rip. Nah, I don't think that will spin, but we're going to put them in there anyway. That was really short. I must have had lots of this fabric. Oh my goodness. That's enough. Sometimes I want to cut them down just so they'll spread further. I don't have much black. Got some silver. Sheep and Shawl. Oh, I can't read. There's a heart in the way. Sheep and Shawl always around this time of year. Yes. Yes, it pretty much is the first Saturday of May. The Willamette Heritage Society has it on their webpage. I'm pretty sure they have lots of other media around. And it's free to enter. And it runs from 10 to 4. Free to enter, free parking. There's a full restaurants. I think there's a couple little carts too. So the parking lot does get full though. Yeah, it'd be a good idea. Washington, you're not that far away. I mean, it's neat to come when they do anything just because it's the Willamette Heritage Society is neat to walk around no matter what they're doing just to see the equipment that they have stored because they used to do all sorts of fiber preparation at the mill. So they have drum carters, big carding machines that are like bigger than my room. They're so huge, but they haven't ran for years. They're just sitting there getting looked at because of their awesomeness. And we will be down spinning in the dye house. I'm not even sure the last time it actually was used as a dye house. But anyway, they do a lot of outreach there, weddings, all sorts of fun stuff. Down so you can see the books. I just tipped it up so I can actually see the words. I don't remember where this stuff came from, but it looks like pastel rainbows. Ew, didn't think that knot was going to come out, and it comes right out. Yeah, I just don't want to spin big knots. I'm just going to put the piece to work in there too. Okay, I'm wondering if that's too much white. Oh, looks less white on camera. This lovely dark gray green. One little piece of bright green. That might be it for the bright green. piece of yarn. Yeah. Oh, there also is going to be vendors. This event has vendors. I have a friend that dyes fiber and yarn, and she is going to be there. It'd be nice to see her again. It's been a while. My husband was funny. He said, I might even stop by just to see her. I'm like, seriously? Just because you know where she's going to be for a day. He never goes to these things. Made me laugh. Heaven forbid we actually invite friends over to the house. No, we must go to their events to see them randomly. That is a piece of batting. That I do not want in there. That can be used for something else. Ooh, lots and lots of black. And some pink yarn. And a rat's nest of stuff. It's amazing what you can throw in these. And when it's done, you don't really realize what exactly went in there. Could be the ugliest fabric in the world. All spun into yarn. All you're going to see is the main colors. These are fat. Okay. Yeah, probably working. All right, should we do a little bit more before we put the wool on it? It's still very squishy. I think this is cotton. Yeah, this is the salvage of a piece of fabric. So it's a little stiffer. So I'm glad it's a little thinner. The Willamette Heritage Society is also right next to the train depot. So if you want to take the train down from Washington, that would work really well. It is like a block away. Super short walk. I think we're going to do another layer and then go back in. More fadoof. And I push it down just to make sure it locks together. Wants to stick to my hands. It's very clingy. All tucked back up. Ready to go again. Might as well start with some more white. White and gold prints. And then plain white. Pieces of pink. Trying to keep things lined up. They'll pull out better of the box if I keep them lined up. That was a little short. Oh well. There we go. Good. The piece of batik. Since it's so short, I want it thinner, just so it has something to grip onto. That's a knot. It's kind of like hunting for treasures. That's a piece of knit that's cut really weird. I'm going to cut it into smaller pieces before throwing it in. The knit should grab. If it doesn't, it'll just be on the floor. It just wants to jump every time I try to cut it. Mm. There we go. If they'll give us some texture. Oops. It's a pretty thick thread that way. Oh, perfect. Little thin little things. Little threads. Yarn. Yeah, for pre-made yarns, I just pull them apart. So they're single plied going into this. Later this month, maybe next month, I'm going to do a drum carter recycle batt that uses the scrap yarn from all the other projects I'm doing. So doing a whole bunch of headscarves, have them launched on my website. That creates a lot of little bitty scraps, and they're really pretty colors. So I'm going to show how to actually break them down, do that on the drum carter, since they break down so nice. This you can't do on my drum carter. It's too fine. If you had one that has really heavy teeth that are far apart, you could probably do this. But mine is too delicate to handle fabric scraps. Ooh, that's pink. That's really pretty pink. Must have been from the edge of a fabric. We'll toss some of those in here. It's almost like building a cake. Cake layer, frosting layer. It's getting all over me. As a fiber artist, you really can't hide what you're doing because you generally wear your projects. I am covered in wee little threads. More gray, more pink. Ooh. The black twinkle sky fabric. It's in the quilt behind me. It's from the Darla quilt. And I washed this fabric before using it. That's why it's all pulled out on the edges, which is actually perfect for spinning. Kind of excited about this one. Little tendrils are going to have so much fun creating a lot of wonderful textures. That's probably enough black for this layer. Maybe not. That's thinner. Okay. Let's see if we have any other colors in here. Ooh, teal. A little teal and pink from the blocks. They're just falling apart. And some threads. It's going to fall apart. Oh my goodness gracious. Okay. I'll pull these apart after I cut them. Okay, I'm just going to put a little bit more on top of that. Ooh, purple. He's having a little bit more colors. That little blast of teal. Some more pinks. Polar fleece. Okay, maybe not polar fleece. I think that would be weird. Unless you're doing it all in polar fleece. Then it'd just be a fleece yarn. More white on white print. More teal. Bright green. A bit more knit. We'll see how that turns out. Fun thing about spinning, you don't know if it's going to work until you try it. But I have the perfect wheel for spinning these now. So I really am happy I get the opportunity to make one more. No, I'll probably make way more than one more, but that's beside the point. Okay. Probably no knots tied in the yarn. I don't think that would work too well. Come on, untie. Mm. Oh, well, I can't move the heart. Okay, whatever. Okay, I'm really overloading this layer, but it'll be fine. Get these on there, do another layer of wool. I didn't say it before. I'm probably only using about 1 ounce of wool. It's a 2-ounce bat. I'm not going to use half of it. Really pretty wool. Just putting another thin layer on top. Don't want it too thin since there's a lot of fabric under there. All right, tucking it all to bed again. All right, got it all tucked up again. I have enough room to do one more, and I want my last layer to be wool, just to hold on to it little bits tight, you know what I mean? So the little bits don't go flying all over the place. All right. Cutting things up. There's all sorts of stuff in here. More of that gray yarn. Putting gray yarn on top of gray wool sounds a little weird, but sure, why not? Keep seeing my views going up, but not seeing anyone actually on, which is weird, but I don't know 100% how this thing works, so yeah, we'll just go with it. Nothing I can do about it. Yeah. I'm going to be on until I finish this batt. Then I think I'm going to head to bed too, but you know, I have to finish the batt. I might grab my shearing gear because I don't know if they found a shearer or not. And they might still have the sheep coming, so it could be interesting. I'm going to wear my jeans anyway. Ooh, I found another piece of black. So why am I so happy when I find black? Because there's just too much pink and white. I need some deep tones to break it up. I'd be happy if I found some darker tones of anything. Yeah. Just to break up the monotony. Like this one has bits of dark blue and just enough to break up all the red. Yep, there's a little bit of brown. Hopefully I can edit this a little bit later on when it goes, you know, continues its life as a real video. Actually put some music on or something. Because I go silent because I'm studying what I'm doing and it needs some background noise. But yet, I hate having too much background in the room, especially if it's not the appropriate background that YouTube wants. You know, those that come back to listen. Do you think I'm safe if I stick with like classics? You know, Bach, Beethoven, Brahms, you know, people that have been dead a long time and are no longer under any sort of copyright. It's too fat. Like I was saying throughout the whole thing, less than 1/4 inch is preferred. I do love an 1/8. An 1/8 is like my favorite. Or threads. Threads are great too. So yeah. You know, a quilter, ask them for their scraps or ask them for their waste. The guild I'm with calls it bale, but it's way too small for any quilter to really want. because most quilters will stop at an inch. Not saying there's not some people out there that want to go smaller, but most quilters will start at an inch, because if you're using 1/4 inch seams, after you take all the seam allowance, you're left with a 1/2 inch piece. That's a lot of white. Not a white, not a... Ooh, some darker tones in. It's purple. I'm happy. Okay, all good. Getting tired. That's okay. So I don't cut myself. We're all good. Yeah, I think that's okay. Trying to eyeball. Is it too thick? Is it too thin? Heavier the fabric, the thinner it needs to be. That's one thing you've learned from today. That will do. Yeah, it's quite unlike real spinning, because it's like the finer the fiber, the more twist it needs. Because the shorter it generally is, and the thicker the fiber, the longer it normally is, and the less twist it needs. But in order to give fabric twist, it needs to be thin. It all works. That's all I know is it works. Piece of yarn. So, ooh, cityscapes. Sparkles. This is size 10 crocheted cotton. It might be, yeah, it's fine. Can peel it down, but I think it's fine the way it is. Okay. What else we got? Some little blue flowers. I'm going to make this layer pretty thick since it's our last one, which might mean it's going to be our first one. Okay. Oh, well, I might be able to get 2 more rows in here. The power of compression. Yeah, fabric and wool compresses quite nicely. Let's do some in the middle. I'm probably going to pack my scissors with me, because I will probably have something in here too long or sticking out funny that needs to be cut. Maybe not the expensive ones, but that's beside the point. I don't want to take anything that if it walks, we are working in public, even though the ladies next to me aren't a flight risk, you know what I'm saying? You never know who's going to walk through. Especially since there's going to be a lot of kids at the event too. Now, there's certain ages you learn those things, and certain ages where you're just too little to know. So who knows? So I'm going to bring the orange handled ones, not the gingers. Okay. Cheers. No one's here, but you know, life is good. If you're watching on the replay and you're still here this long, I love you. That's it. You're an awesome person. Hopefully you're doing something awesome too. Or I'm just keeping you company while you're doing whatever. Doesn't matter. I can keep you company and make your day a little happier, I am glad I can. If I encourage you to go out and do something weird with fabric, even better, or wool, or yarn. Fiber arts are fun. Oh, I think fiber arts are fun. And if you're here, you probably think fiber arts are fun too. I'm just going through and finding some more interesting fabrics. What break? What break? Oh, it broke. Okay. So recap, under 6 inches. There we go. And the wool is here. Torque is glued to hold everything together. And I got some waste yarn in here that I can pull apart. Every time you add a different element, it will give you a different result. So if you make one of these, share it with me on Instagram or Facebook. I am Maddie Makes on both of those. And I just created a Reddit, so I'm trying to figure out how that one works. So it's just interesting having people ask questions and see if I can answer them, because that's fun too. Should pop up some of the yarn and go, what would you do with this? Who knows what I'd get. I would say it's too fat, but it's so thin. I think it's going to be fine. Ooh, that is a satin ribbon. I'm just going to leave it the whole length. Do I know why there's a satin ribbon in there? No, I really don't. Yarn I get, fabric I get. I don't use ribbons that often. It must be on the bias. That is incredibly stretchy. Found some dark green, or is it gray? I don't know if that's green or gray. Looks gray on camera. Looks more green in person. Anyway. This was a piece of fabric. Now it's threads. There's something tapping behind me. just going to cut it down here. Oh, that's easier. Okay, where did I put that? Doubled, there it is. They're easier to cut when they're doubled. But they're a pain to have to go back and figure out. Now that one was a little bit quicker. At least I think that layer was quicker. You'll let me know. Fill the comment box up. Or as a YouTuber, I should say, if you like these fiber shenanigans, you can choose to subscribe, or like, subscribe, share. But then again, that is up to you. But I like randomly putting out lives in the middle of the night. No, seriously, third live ever. So I hope this does happen more. It's kind of fun. I don't need to edit it. And I hopefully will get to talk to more people as the years go on. Because then I can answer all your questions or have a little talk. Because you'll think of things that I don't think about. It's already cut into small pieces. Party day. I've got a whole bunch of little black bits. I love black. Black is great. Black thread making me happy. Ooh, found more yarn. It's already pulled apart. Strips. That's what came off the quilt when I was making it. That is a human hair. We do not want that in the batt. No human hairs. Yes to self-care though. Self-care, yes. There it goes. Oh yeah. Cheers. Road yummy goodness. That is a fatty strip of fabric. Now it's fine. I think this might be my favorite layer. So it's nice that it's on the top. I remember doing this before. Do I remember how I got it out of the box? Not really. I think I'll just pull it out in strips though. I'm going to turn old yarn into new yarn and fabric into new yarn. What else can we turn into yarn? Okay, could have unspun that one. That was fun. There's tons of this stuff. Oh, so much fun. Down, boy. Wow, I think that is my best one yet. I wish each layer looked like that. Love the colors. Gray, the blacks, the whites. Yes. Let's put another layer of floof on it. I think I can get one more. I want enough in here to do the whole show. I know I'm starting to repeat myself, but I'm going to spin this on a Spinolution bullfrog that I have nicknamed Jeremiah because I think I'm funny. Jeremiah was a bullfrog, but he was a good friend of mine. Anyway, it's a good spinning wheel. I really do love it. And it travels really well. You know, if I had more time, I would deal Spinolution. They are so stinking cute. It's a really good spinning wheel line that aren't horribly expensive. So. Hello. I'm working on the last layer of this faux batt. Trying to see how many wonderful colors of threads and fabric I can find in this bag. It's full of all sorts of wonderful goodness and way too much white. But that's life. Cycle some yarn. Just pulling the yarn out and do it single plies so it will blend with everything else and it will all work together. Feel free to leave comments in the chat box. I'm pretty good at responding to them, even though I do have my computer tilted down so you can actually see what's going into the box. Some little pieced together pieces. Little skinny strips. I have no idea where this came from, but it's going in there anyway. So recycling all those little bits of yarn and all the scraps of fabric left from quilting. I'm even pulling out some pieces that go to this quilt that is behind me that I still need to finish. Yeah, I think we're fine. Trying to make sure they're not too thick. 1/4 inch or smaller is perfect. The thicker the piece, the thinner it should be. These are pretty lightweight fabric pieces, so they can handle being a little thicker. This one is not. It's a cross woven. Okay, there it goes. Don't cut my fingers, just cut the fabric. More yarn. I'm just trying to grab for color at this point. I want something that's not just all pink and white. But yeah, it's fine. It's all going on this lovely light gray. At least when it's spun, it should look light gray. Or light gray, a shade of brown. It's a warm gray, right? Gray with a shade of brown is warm. This is like a purple. Try to get everything going the same direction. This is a piece of knit. We'll see what it does in here. I'm thinking it's going to pop out and give a little bit of texture. Oop, this is fun. Trying not to cut through the threads. A little bit of owl fabric. I made towel toppers for my mother-in-law. She loves owls. It's like a little memory lane going through all this fabric. Yarn bits. Ooh, I found a whole bunch of dark colors. Oh, bye. Do like the threads. They give it a lot of color and texture without taking up a lot of thickness. Just hoping the wool's light enough that it lets all this color shine through. There's the other two that I've shown. The wool is really where the color's coming from. Yeah, this is the last one just because it's getting too late. It's almost 11. Well, here it's almost 11. What time is it where you are? Ooh, black. Yes. Give me some dimension. Yarn to recycle. Here we go. Taking the plies apart and putting them in one by one. All right. Just building up the color and the layers. Of little skinny pieces, and just rip them apart with your hands. These are nice and light, so they'll twist up well. Pieces of batik. A lot of color in those. I think that's like very thin fleece, polar fleece. Threads. No knots allowed. Hello. Hey. Feel free to jump into the chat and ask me anything you want because I feel like I've been repeating myself all night. As I rip fabric apart and put it in this, making up this faux batt to spin art yarn. I'll go back to the art batt then. I don't know what that is. Okay. More threads, more fabric. And most of the things in this bag were cut off of a quilt. So there's still some pieces that are stitched together. There's a clump. I do really like this batik. So pretty. Barbie pink. Really, really long strip of white. Just going to cut it all into pieces and then add it. I'm just trying to mat it down a little bit, get the layers to stick together. Some of the littler pieces are just going to fall out, and that will be life. Okay, found some threads. I think that's from washing a towel. I'm not sure I want that in there. Ease a knot. Okay. Pretties. This is going to spin up fun. A bunch of randomness. I just want knots in there. Another piece of black. Okay, another piece of teal. Barbie pink. I just hope we need more white. Sure, why not? I'm glad the wool I'm using is not real white. This would just get lost. Okay. Got quite a bit of coverage, some really good colors. We'll just do a little bit more. I'm pretty sure I have enough scraps to do a whole another bat. And I'll film tomorrow when I spin this at the sheep to shawl. This is a little thick, so I'm just going to cut them and then cut them into skinnier strips. I'm just pulling out the rest of the black thread because I want more black in here. That's pretty. It's got gold sparkles. I don't know where green came from. It's going somewhere else. Green's not going in here. It's a little too bright. Oh, what else? What else? What else? Pink. Pink. Okay, Barbie pink. Barbie pink. Why not some more Barbie pink? Ooh. Oh, more gray. For the gray yarn. Well, thank you for keeping me company, whoever you are. It's nice to know I'm not sitting down here all by myself. It's like an art project. You got to know when you're supposed to be done, yet you want to keep going. Oh. All right, and we'll put the final topper on it. Just get this strip off this batt. Yeah, about half left. Start laying them on. And this will just lock all the layers together. Well, I am calling that finished, even though it's a really light layer, because there's a lot of material in this box now. And it's all ready to go for tomorrow. So I put the lid on it, but the lid's still under the computer, which is where I'm filming. So thank you very much, everyone. The batt is done. I will spin it tomorrow at Sheep to Shawl in Salem, Oregon, at the Willamette Heritage Building, also known as Mission Mill. And I'll show you the finished products and hopefully do some filming while I'm there. So see you later, everybody. Bye.